Hey, I got a new microphone, so now the audio won't be shit anymore. Which I think is a good thing because this is my best video yet, which doesn't mean much. Hello, my name is Pig with Mustache. Well, not really. I would be really mad at my parents if they gave me that name. But that is the name of my YouTube channel, and today I got a video for you. I want to start this video talking about an important subject. Do you hate your job? If you are a normal person, the answer is likely yes. Having to go to work for most of your days, dedicating at least half of your awake hours to do something you don't even enjoy doing. I am pretty sure most of us would rather be chilling in our yachts, drinking whatever rich people drink, while watching some great videos on YouTube. And surely it's no different for football players. Sure, they make a lot more money than we do, but they still have to go to their jobs, they still have to deal with bad colleagues, bad bosses, and some of them even work at Manchester United. They also have to deal with the worst among the worst, the scummiest of the scum. That's right, you know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the coach who compliments you. Hey boss, did you call me? It's me, football player. As you can see by my clothes. Yes, football player, I'm the coach, as you can see by... What have I done? Anyway, football player, I want to say thanks for the 15 goals you scored in the last game. You are a really good football player and I'm glad to be your coach. How dare you say something like that to me? Go yourself, you I think there's been a miscommunication. I wanted to say I'm happy for you. I'm happy for the 400 goals you scored in the last 8 matches. You are really useful for us and I hope we can get more happy moments together in the future. Oh yeah? So why don't you... Did I say anything wrong? So with all that said, let's go to today's experiment. I made it so all the players in Europe's top 7 leagues despise the club they play for, so they would actively be trying to leave to play for any other team. What I expect and hope it happens is that with every relevant player actively trying to leave the team, clubs will be forced to sell most of the players in the first couple of seasons. So to see if that actually happens, I'm testing the save with all the top 7 European leagues active and I'm running the save for a couple of seasons. It's that time of the video again. I'm sorry, but I have it to ask you to like this video and subscribe. I just started making YouTube videos this month and I feel like I'm getting better and better at this. And by subscribing to this channel, I promise you're gonna receive some great videos on your YouTube feed, even if I have to download Zillion's videos and post them as if they're mine. I wanted to bring attention to you that I also have a Twitter account. If you want to see more of my insightful commentaries, please check it out. While running the experiment, I noticed something funny. At first, I started looking at some players whose contracts were running out in the first season, like Onana, who left for Leeds, Sergio Roberto, who went to Russia, Bernadeschi, who moved to Monaco, and Nketiah, who left to South Korea? And then I realized that my prediction that players would be actively trying to leave the clubs was wrong. Instead, they were doing something called quiet quitting. In case you don't know what quiet quitting is, it's a stupid name used to describe people who just wanna do their jobs and then go home, no working extra time, no working for free, just follow what's on the contract and that's it. And that's exactly what the players are doing. They're not actively trying to leave. They are staying at the clubs until the end of the contract and then they are leaving for free. Another funny thing that is happening is that there is some kind of musical chairs. Tottenham lost a top player to Real Madrid, who lost a player to PSG, who gave a player to Manchester City, who lost De Bruyne to Liverpool, who allowed Salah to go back home to Chelsea, who gave up on Havertz and then he moved to Atletico de Madrid, who gave Coke to Manchester United. All of that moving around created some pretty cursed images. Thanks to that, I'm gonna focus mostly on the free transfers that happened. Since those are the ones I can tell probably only happened because of the experiment itself, I thought for a while about the best way to show the results and I decided to go through it league by league, starting with the... Here in the save, Liverpool is the current Champions League winner after an all-English final, typical FM, where Liverpool of De Bruyne defeated the City of Henderson and Robertson. After the first season, they got lucky by signing Dybala and Brozovic while not losing any important players. As the years went by, hey look, Nico Williams went to Mexico. That's weird. As the years went by, they did start losing a few of the best players for free, like Firmino who went to play for Roma, Mané who went to France, besides Salah, the now Chelsea player. One season later, Thiago Alcantara left. I wanted to say he had a good career after that, but no. He had a nice career. Later they lost Van Dijk but recovered with Sané, De Bruyne and Odegaard, until finally they got Lautaro. They also lost Fabinho, but he was like 33 at the time, so who cares? Manchester City, being Manchester City, splashed the cash on Gnabry, Haaland and Kimmich right off the bat, abusing the fact that they were all unhappy at their clubs. Overall, while they did lose a couple of important players for free like Sterling, Mahrez and that guy, I'm trying not to repeat any information, but usually a transfer is between two teams, so if Liverpool gets De Bruyne, that's because Manchester City lost De Bruyne. Eventually, they managed to get even stronger by getting the likes of Mbappe, Militão and Henderson. Manchester United was one of the big winners of the experiment. They won the Premier League with the best campaign ever by following the old strategy of getting rid of the old squad little by little. It did pay off massively for them. Arsenal had some interesting signings to replace the guys that left. They replaced Nketiah with Cherki, Guendouzi with Pogba, Sakai Martinelli with Bellingham and Reina, so the squad is around the same level as it was at the beginning of the save, which would be amazing if this was on FM23, but this is the 21-22 squad, so it's much less impressive. I gotta say, I believe Chelsea's squad got a little bit weaker. I think indicative of the squad's strength is the fact that they got someone like Neymar, but he's now 34 years old, so there's little he can do. They did have some good signings in 23-24, but they also lost a bunch of players there. There's not much to talk about Chelsea here. If Chelsea was unimpressive, Tottenham looks the worst of all, with their squad being closer to mid-table teams than to title contenders. While they did get Kulusevski and a French wonder kid, they couldn't replace their best players. As a saving grace though, they at least made some money on most of them. Even though I did say Manchester United was one of the big winners of the experiment, there's one team that did much better than them, and that is... Despite losing good players like Bruno Guimarães and Joe Linton, they did get Onana, Tomori, Christian Romero, Barella, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mounts, Cucurella, NGG, and others. With all of them, Newcastle created one of the most exciting squads in the league. Barcelona, in a very unusual way for Barcelona to be, they actually got a few good deals. They signed Rudiger for free and made good money on players like Ronald Araujo and Frenkie de Jong. And while they couldn't stop losing Ter Stegen and Gavi for free, they compensated by getting De Gea, Rodri and Musiala. Real Madrid struggled quite a lot. They lost so many great players and that has definitely impacted them. They lost Benzema, Casemiro, Militão, Vinicius Júnior, Alaba and Courtois, and that's really hard to get back from. As some positives, they got De Ligt, Kane, Van Dijk, Hakimi and Donnarumma. They also got Neymar, but then he left after one season only. That wasn't even caused by the experiment, that was just FM being FM. It might not be obvious at first by looking at their squad, but Atletico de Madrid did an amazing job. They finished La Liga with 99 points twice in a row, smashing their old record. It all happened after they stopped using coke. For the relevant signings, they got Rashford, Havertz and Tierney for free. They also broke even to João Felix, despite him being on the last year of his contract. So in the end, things worked out pretty well for them. Quite clearly, Bilbao was the biggest loser of the entire experiment. They lost pretty much every single good player they had, and they didn't have much choice in who they could sign. So after being competitive for a couple of seasons, they eventually got relegated and haven't returned. PSG, being PSG, signed every player they could: Modric, Mané, Lewandowski, Bernardo Silva, Casemiro, Son and many others. If someone was available for free, it was very likely they were going to PSG. Do you wanna know what happens to Lionel Messi? He retires. That's right, the thumbnail is a lie. Got you. What are you gonna do? Gonna cry about it? Please don't. They're also responsible for the oddest transfer in the entire save. They signed Pedri from Barcelona for 210 million euros, instead of waiting for a single season where they could have him for free. PSG, I think you're way too addicted to buying players. I really think you should go to rehab and get yourself a transfer embargo. For your own good. So Bayern actually did well. They have a relatively young squad who's around their peak, and for some reason they only have a single German player in the squad. Even the US is better represented. One surprising thing about Bayern is that in 5 seasons, they didn't really get many players for free. Despite having the opportunity to do so, they only got a single player for the youth team. Instead, they decided to spend the money, and the once financially responsible team had a positive net spend every season. Dortmund has fallen behind a lot since the first season. It's a given since they lost Haaland and Moukoko, and the best player they managed to sign was André Silva, who is good, but no Haaland. so the club is in danger of not even qualifying to European competitions anymore. Juve managed to build a funny squad over time despite all the players they lost. They rebuilt themselves with Kane, Neuer, Kovacic and Marquinhos all for free. They also got the legendary Cesco, but he isn't doing so well there. With all those years, Inter suffered quite a bit. Their squad is getting old and their younger players are not that good. On a positive note, they got Alphonso Davies and made a good profit with Rabiot. They also signed Rafael Leão from Milan. You wonder I'm talking about this transfer? It's because... Now I'm gonna talk about Milan. That was kinda obvious, isn't it? Milan did not do bad in the transfer market. They got Antony, Moriba and Rafinha, but no one better than Colin Sol from Atletico. They also managed to make money from most of the players like Tonali, Rafael Leão, Maignan and...
Salamakers.
While writing the script of this video, I noticed a small problem with Portuguese and Dutch teams. Since naturally they often sell the best players already, it's hard to know how much the experiment affects them unless they sell a player for free, which almost never happens. For example, Florentino Luis left Benfica for little money because he was nearing the last year of his contract, but that can also happen in a normal save. It's not like the Brazilians of Real Madrid leaving the club at the same time. So I go through these leagues really quickly. Benfica won the league 3 times in a row thanks to their signings Rodrigo, Renato Sanchez and the goal machine Sunsup Bell. They sold him later to United, now they have Kaique, who didn't turn out so well. Porto, who for some reason has a thing for English players, since with all the top 7 leagues having players willing to leave their clubs for free, the only ones they signed were Tarkowski, Madison, Harrison and Holmes, who was not even part of the experiment because he was playing the championship. To finish the big 3, there is... Vizela. Just kidding, but a tycoon bought them and now they have an interesting squad. Sporting was the only Portuguese team to invest for real in Portuguese players. It didn't work out though. The most interesting thing that happened with them is that Vardy played there for like 3 games, and also that Nketiah ended up there after his adventure in South Korea. The experiment was not kind to Ajax. Other than Onana, they lost Blind, Tagliafico and Halle, and in return they got Kepa for 9 games, and also Verstappen. Not that one. I know, I looked it up, they are not related. Which might be a good thing in my opinion.
They're trying to fight this one, but as they now head towards the S's, it's Verstappen.
To compete with Ajax, PSV decided to break with Dutch tradition and chose to bet on older players. It did not work. If you thought much would change in the Champions League, one team seizing the opportunity of having so many top players available for free and winning the Champions League with them, you'd be wrong. Basically nothing changed. But Real Sociedad did make a semi-final one time. The strongest teams in Europe, at least using the coefficients, include 4 English teams in the top 5. But there is a little surprise with Monaco in 7th place. That's because they did a Sevilla and made the Europa League final 3 times in a row, which was enough to put France in the top 4 leagues for a season. See PSG? That's how it's done. I guess that's all there is to say about the experiment. Bye bye.